Hello YouTube chess lovers and my friends, this is Gunjan here. The most attacking third game which I have choose is one of the biggest attacking world chess player, Mikhail. All I can say from this game is I feel very sorry that Tal hasn't played much of the Smith-Morra Gambit. His opponent name was Neibult. I tried very hard to find out the information regarding Neibult, but I haven't found any picture of Neibult, and all I can say is when the Neibult played this game, his rating was around 2400. This is one of the very good small miniature from the Tal, and the opening was the Smith-Morra Gambit. Tal started with the move e4, and Neibult responded with the Sicilian Defence c5. And here we'll see the complete acceptance of the Smith-Morra Gambit. So after d4, c cross d4, c3, and now d cross c3. Here Tal plays knight to c3, and you can see the first merit of this gambit is white has created two semi-open files for his rook, and white will have a very fast and a quick development. So let's see how this game progresses. So for a while Neibult followed the main line. So Neibult here played knight to c6, and after Tal played knight to f3, he played d6. Here Tal continues with the bishop to c4. So now you can see that bishop is eyeing to the f7 square. Neibult immediately played e6, so blunting the diagonal of the bishop, and now Tal castle on the king side. Neibult continues with the natural developing move, which is knight to f6, and after queen to e2, the idea is very simple. Knight wants to come to the b5, and rook comes to the d1, where they all can lining up to the d6. So very wisely Neibult here play a6 to stopping knight or the bishop coming to the b5 square. And now Tal continues with the usual line, rook to d1. And now you can see the first merit of the gambiting the pawn. Rook has been placed against the queen, so this diagonal is very much dangerous. So Neibult immediately get out of the line. So Neibult played queen to c7, but here Tal played bishop to f4, so pressurizing more d6 pawn. Here Neibult played knight to e5, so now the two pieces are attacking the bishop. Tal put his bishop back to b3, and now Neibult played bishop to e7, so he's eyeing for the king side castle and completing the development. Tal completed its all piece development with this move, which is rook to c1, and now you can see the another dark side of the queen to c7. Now in the view of knight moving and having a discover attack to his queen, Neibult has to forcefully lose the time and has to play queen to b8. And here Tal played a very amazing move, which is knight to d4. Now first is it's avoiding the exchange, and after the black castle on the king side, it has a very good idea starting with this move, which is bishop to g3. And now you can see the idea is very simple. White wants to expand with the move f4, and not only that, it will force knight to retrieve. And Neibult was so afraid at this point, so he immediately take that knight back. So he played knight e to d7, and now Tal placed f4 anyways. And here Neibult played a first mistake of the game. Well, I personally think that here Neibult should play knight to c5, which has a merit of attacking the bishop, and once the bishop goes back to the c2, it's although like black has so much passive pieces, but at least black is a pawn up, and black can look forward for at least holding on this position. But the move Neibult played is a big positional disaster, because move he played was e5, and this is a big disaster, because you can see there are few drawbacks of this move. First is knight can slot into the big juicy f5 square, where it can power down to the g7 and the e7. And not only that, now you can see by moving e pawn further, this bishop diagonal has been opened up, and you will see some nasty disaster will be looming on this diagonal. So first of all, Tal played knight to f5, very natural, so attacking the bishop, pressurizing more on the d6. And here again, because of this attack, Neibult has to forcefully play rook to e8, so defending the bishop. But now you can see that protection of the f7 square has been loosened up, and Tal exploit this very magnificently. So first of all, Tal played queen to c4. So now you can see both the pieces are attacking the f7, and it's a disgusting position for black, because how the hell he's going to defend that f7. Neibult, of course, after a long thinking, come out with this move, which is d5. But after knight cross d5, he first of all give this check. So bishop check, and after the Tal parked the king in the corner, Neibult played rook to e6. So trying to defending with the rook lift. But there's a one big drawback, and now you can see the back rank has become very weak, and Tal exploit this very magnificently. Before we go on, I give you a few seconds. Can you find an amazing move over here? Okay, the best move at this position is knight cross f6, but instead of that, Tal played a move which looks very attractive, and in fact giving up the queen by queen cross c5. Of course, in the game opponent does not took the queen, but let's see what happens if black took the queen. So if black took the queen, knight cross c5, then it leads to the mate. So you can pause the video and find out the mate. The mate start with this move, which is knight cross f6 check. Now if the king goes to the f8, then very simple is rook check, and after rook comes in between, this leads to the checkmate. And if g cross f6, then very simple is again the rook check, and this leads to the mate as well. So of course that means queen cannot be captured. So here Neibult first of all captured this knight. So knight cross d5. Here Tal again played rook cross d5, and again you can see the queen has been offered. Let's see what happens if black take the queen. If knight takes the queen here, then again that leads to the checkmate. So that is not possible. So in the game, Neibult played the last losing move, which is e cross f4. Now instead of this, Fritz suggested that h6 should be played, but even though after h6 we have a simple line like this, so knight check, and after king to h7 we have this lovely move which is queen takes c8, and after a simple line goes like this, rook takes knight and queen takes queen and rook takes queen and rook to c7. You can see white is emerged with a piece up. So of course this is not good as well. After e cross f4, again I'll give you a few seconds. Can you find a winning continuation which dismantles the black? And that start with this move, which is knight check. Now if the king goes to the h8, then bishop cross f4, so it's attacking the queen, and after queen to h7, trying to exchanging the queen, white will first of all grab this bishop, and after knight to f8, white can play this lovely looking move which is rook to d8, and black will not survive longer. So very obvious, king to h8 leads to the disaster. So in the game Neibult played king to f8, but after rook cross d7, very amazing threats are looming. You can see first of all this rook is supporting the knight. Not only that, white is threatening to give a checkmate to the black king, and the third amazing thing is it's create a discovery to the black rook. So of course Neibult has to forcefully capture this rook, but after bishop cross e6, Neibult resigned. Now very simple is whether bishop captures or the pawn captures. For example, let's say bishop captures e6, then after knight to c6, black will lose a queen. So very amazing miniature by the Tal, and this is one of the very amazing example which shows the Tal ability of attacking, and it teach us a lot. I hope you enjoy the attacking miniature of the Tal. Feel free to comment on my video, and I'll meet you soon. Bye.